What's up, everybody? It's HBT Man with Straight Up Wrestling Show, guys. Coming on here, just talk a little bit about wrestling, guys. Pretty much, hey, I am going to be talking pretty much about missing the territories, man. Missing the days of the territories when I was growing up. Today's wrestling pretty much have gotten me back into that mode of where, hey, I wish the territories was here. I wish I was able to see the territories, but that's not the case, guys. It is what it is. And, hey, we are stuck with what we have, guys. And, hey, man, how did we get to this point? I remember when it started happening. I remember when Vince McMahon started buying up all the territories back in the 80s. I definitely remember that. We'll never forget it. And, I remember saying that back when he was doing this. And I remember saying that around, 88, 89. That, hey, this man, even before that, even in high school when he started really buying it up, but then Jim Crockett had to, who ran the NWA, well, he ran Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, which was the biggest territory in outside of the World Wrestling Federation. He had to go ahead and counter, and he started buying up territories, from the NWA to pretty much counter what Vince McMahon was doing. So, I'm looking at all this and I'm like, wow, I'm hating it. I'm really hating it. I did like what Vince McMahon, not Vince McMahon. I did like what Jim Crockett was doing, and I knew how great of a promoter he was, and how great his TV show was. How great, how good he was at building up stars and all that. So, I did like that. But, because somebody had to counter. Somebody had to counter what Vince was doing. And Jim Crockett, he is probably the only person at that time who could actually do it and do it well. So he had to counter and pretty much start building up his territory, start building up Mid-Atlantic, building it bigger than what it was. And he had to do it by having better wrestlers and pretty much putting on better shows. So not saying that he did it always, that they always had better shows than the World Wrestling Federation, but for the most part, they did. But, man, I mean, straight up, wow, what in the world? I'm going to have to change this background, guys. Give me just a moment here. But straight up, I mean, you had some great things going on in the territory days. And, guys, I miss it. And wrestling was special at that time, guys. But let me change this background, guys. I do not want this background. That's not what I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and change this. So give me a second here. Let's see, go into the settings. Let me change this background picture here. But I definitely 100% miss the territorial days. And I tell you what, as far as the independence, Chris and I, we went on this journey when we first started, going to all the independent shows and everything, checking that out with our partner, Danny Paris. So we was doing that. And I enjoyed that a lot, especially when we first started, because to me, it reminded me of the territorial system. It reminded me of the territory days. And I definitely enjoyed that. But it was lacking, the more shows we went to, the more territories that we went to, not territories, but the more independent indies that we went to, independent shows that we went to, more and more I saw that it was a lot of it was a copycat. It was a lot of copycats back, a lot of copycats in the indies and things. It just didn't get to, it lost that. In some way, I do know the way it did. It lost, I lost interest in it because they really wasn't building anything when it boils down to it. When we first started going on the journey of the independent scenes, it had a sense of, hey, we're building and something can be very special coming from certain indies that we was going to. But the longer we went to them, the more that I saw that, hey, there's nothing that's going to come out of this. You have some indies, you'll have an indie here that's having a guy he's big, and he looks like a star, man. He looks like somebody who should have been in the old indies back in the day. He looks like someone who can make it up to TNA, who can make it to AEW, who can make it to the WWE probably. and then you'll go down the road and see him 10, 15 miles down the road, and he's losing in that area. And then you can go another 5 miles, another 10 miles up the road, and he's winning there. And then you can go and see him somewhere 20, 30 miles down the road, he's losing there. So we went to a lot of different territories. I think we are past 20 now. We are like 21, 22 as far as going to different indies, and each one of them have their own set of priorities, guys. None of these indie guys, none of these promoters, some of them, you have some getting together or whatever, but they have some of these indies, you see they have basically gotten together to try to destroy other indies who they think are not up to snuff the way they want them to be. So that kind of hurt the indie scene too. But one thing about these indies, man, I wish these guys would get together, because hey, if you can get together, then you can build something. You can build stars, man. But hey, the way they do it, no, it's not going to happen. So yeah, I do miss the indies. And man, yeah, so that's something that I do want to talk about a little bit here. Guys, give me a second. But for some reason, I don't know. I guess people getting off work or whatever, everybody jumped on. It seemed like everybody just jumped on the internet or whatever at the same time, because my internet was going very fast. Now it seems like it's going slow, basically. But now I'll just go ahead and keep it on here. I wish I had more light right here. I'm in a very dark room. But yeah, it's okay. It is what it is. See, Will Rally Sport is in the house. What's going on, Rally Sport? My man. And my man, young man Lucas is in the house, says hi. Lucas says, I live in Georgia. And Will Rally Sport says, hi, Harry. How you doing, Luca? How you doing, Will Rally Sport? And Will Rally Sport says hi to Lucas. All right, guys. Give me just a second here. But yeah, I miss the old independent days, guys. I really do. I want to see it. I would love to see it come back. You know, the NWA was talking about bringing it back. But man, I just don't ever see it coming back, guys. It's just not going to happen. You just don't have the camaraderie with the different promoters, and because they're going to different promoters, you don't have the camaraderie with the different promoters to build, to get together to make sure that they build a certain star. Hey, these guys can't commit to, somebody who might be very good in that region, and they go from different places, go to different spots. They cannot get to the point where they can pretty much collaborate and say, okay, we can't have this guy being defeated when he comes to our territory, just because you're trying to get, you might be trying to get somebody over in your territory. It can't happen. You have to get with each other, just like they did back in the old territory days, just like the old promoters did back then. Jim Crockett would get with, Graham. He would get with Mike Graham. And you have Mike, they would get with Vince McMahon. They would get with whoever it was, Bill Watts. And when the world champion, say Jack Briscoe, when he had the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, or Harley Race, when they come to that area, they were up their number one guy. They might put Paul Jones up against Harley Race, or they may put Ricky Steamboat up against Harley Race, or they put Dusty Rhodes up against Harley Race. But Harley Race was the champion, and all those guys was in agreement that, hey, it's not time for his title to be changing hands. So, hey, we want to make our guy look good from our territory or our region, our territory. We want to make him look good, but he cannot defeat the world championship. Defeat the world champion. If it was somebody that was really strong, like a Dusty Rhodes, you will have a count out, or you will have a time limit draw. They would go 45 minutes, and it will be a draw. So it made that guy who's from that territory look good, and of course the world heavyweight champion look good. So we need to have that today in the indies. You definitely need to have that today in the indies if you're going to build something special, guys. Straight up. Give me a minute. My phone failed. All right, man. But okay, let me go and get to my man Will Riley Sports says, do you agree, Harry? Okay, say, oh yeah, it's changed. Now indies, the big companies, WWE, AEW, TNA, have signed all the best indie wrestlers. Yeah, do you agree, Harry? Yes, I have. But there's still a lot of them out. There's still a lot of them out here, Will Rally Sport. But yeah, for the most part, they have. And WWE is coming out there to try to gobble up the rest of them. AEW is doing the same thing. Oh man, give me just a second. Give me a second, man. This thing, wow, I cannot believe this. All right, but yeah, they definitely doing this. You know, everybody is trying to grab up the indie wrestling's, you know, the indie wrestlers, the best indie wrestlers, and pretty much basically all they can really do is just put them back in catering, guys, because it's a saturation of talent in the WWE and AEW and TNA when it boils down to it. So they don't have a lot of things for a lot of these guys to do. They don't have a lot of ideas to get these guys on TV. So when it boils down to it, they put them in catering, and you never hear from them again. You may hear from them 3 or 4 years from now back on the indie scene, or they go to a lower company, you know, maybe from an AEW to a TNA or MLW, or come from WWE and go to one of those lower companies. That's what happens with those guys. It really does. All right, Will Raleigh Sport, I live in England. Are you doing a Dynamite live stream, Harry? Winter, sis, comment is called. Lots of good matches on card. Then suddenly WWE Saturday night main event. Yes, we're doing Chris and I both will be doing AEW Dynamite tonight. Chris is going home right now. He's on the way home. So, yeah, we will be doing AEW Dynamite tonight. So, watch out for that, Will Raleigh Sport. And yeah, I will be setting up for that. So you will be seeing a notice for that here in just a little bit. But yes, we're doing that. Saturday night main event. I'm gonna try to go to an independent show here in the area sport. So I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but Chris and I will come back. Chris will be at work that night, Saturday night, for Saturday night main event, but I may end up doing it. If I decide not to go to the independent show. So, but most likely I'm gonna try to go to the independent show, try to keep up with what's going on here in the indies. But if I don't, I will be doing main event. But Chris and I will come back and we will do a review or replay of Saturday night main event, Will Raleigh Sports. So yes, most definitely, man. But I definitely appreciate you coming in. Appreciate everybody coming in. And hey, if you are not part of the Straight Up Wrestling Show, hey, and you like what you hear, hit that like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you over on Facebook, hit that like, share, join, guys. All right. Let's see. I see my girl Alma Clark is coming in the house. What's up, Alma? Alma says, what's up, Harry? How are you doing this evening? I'm doing pretty good. Resting up some, cooking before Dynamite tonight. B90. Yes, I need to go ahead and grab something to eat too. My son just now got something to eat, so I need to go ahead and hook that up, grab me something to eat too before Dynamite comes on tonight, man. But I don't know what in the world happened with my internet, but man, I hate this internet. I'm glad the AEW is shutting down the DSL service, but I don't know when it's going to happen as far as in my neighborhood, but they shut that thing down. They need to get that fiber optic. We got it right up the road, man, right up the road in another neighborhood, the next 2 neighborhoods next to me, they have it. And, man, it's very fast. I want it, because before I moved over here in this neighborhood, which moved in the country, hardly any houses was here. Now we had probably about 17, 18 residents in this neighborhood. The neighborhood I'm in now, River Valley, we have over 60, 70 residents. So hopefully they'll be able to come in and put that fiber optic in, and I won't have any problems with the speed or anything. And man, in my house, everything, I got a lot of dark areas in the house. Gonna try to upgrade to some more light, some higher lights, man. Now with lights, they want to sell these dark lights. It's hard to get the really high voltage, the good wattage that you want to really lighten up your house the way you want to do it now, because everybody's into saving energy, man. So, hey, I do understand that. But when you podcast, you definitely want all that. You want all that. You want the highlights. You want the lights to really be bright. And, hey, I need that high-speed internet, man. I do have high-speed internet, paying for high-speed internet. But when it boils down to it, don't have it. You really don't have it on that DSL service, because everything will get clogged up. Everybody will go online at the same time, you know, a lot of people getting off work right now. So a lot of people going online, and boom, it destroys your speed straight up. But yes. All right. But yeah, getting back to that, you know, and another person, Alma Clark out here who knows about the territories, you know, hey, Alma's close to my age, and we're basically in the same age category, age group. She knows about the territory. She grew up around WCCW, or World Class Championship Wrestling out of Texas. She knows all about that. She knows about the Von Erichs. She knows all about this stuff, man. So she remembers the special times that those territories brought, and the territories seemed like they was more in control. They, you know, they knew what they was doing. They knew how to please the fans, or they knew how to put on a great show to where the fans would go home pleased, and where the fans didn't have to worry week in and week out, am I going to a decent show? Am I going to a good show? Now we have no clue if the show's going to be good or not, man. And it's just not a good thing. It really isn't. It really isn't. And every time we watch wrestling now, it's like a task. It's like a task. You go into it and you say, am I going to see a good wrestling show? Or am I going to be? And that's one thing that none of us want to be doing. We don't want to have to second guess ourselves or go into a show and say, hey, I don't waste time. You know, I'm wasting my time watching this. It's not going to get any better or anything like that. Back in the day, the territorial days, we didn't have to worry about that, guys. We didn't have to worry about watching a show and it wasn't going to be any good. It was always good. It didn't matter. It really didn't matter. It didn't matter which territory that I caught. Now, my favorite territory was the Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling territory. That was the territory that I grew up on, and it was the best, guys. And it ended up, you know, that's the way most people see it. It was the best. It had Jim Crockett. He had all the best wrestlers. He had some great wrestlers. But hey, I can't put down Georgia Championship Wrestling. They had a lot of great wrestlers too. Georgia Championship Wrestling had a lot of great wrestlers. World Class Championship Wrestlers Wrestling. They definitely had a lot of great wrestling. You know, I do think Bill Watts favored, you know, I think he favored his sons, not Bill Watts, World Class Championship Wrestling. I think Fritz definitely, you know, he favored his sons. He had a lot of talent up in Texas, man. You know, Chris Adams, Brian Adias, the Freebirds came up through there. A lot of people came through there. So, yeah, he had a lot of great talent, and I'm not even touching the surface of people that came through at World Class Championship Wrestling. But Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Jim Crockett had so many greats, man. I can just go on and on and on as far as naming all the people that wrestled for Jim Crockett that went on to become big stars. And all these people that you saw in the World Wrestling Federation a little bit later on, or World Wrestling Entertainment that you want to call it, the guys who made that, all those guys came from Jim Crockett. All of them, guys, just about. You know, Hulk Hogan, he started over in Florida, though, Florida Championship Wrestling from Florida. But for the most part, all those guys came from Jim Crockett, or they went through there, you know. So, in Georgia Championship Wrestling, man, what else can I say? What can I say about Georgia Championship Wrestling? They really set the tone and pretty much, you know, set the tone for World Class Championship Wrestling for WCW to be what it was. You know, Jim Crockett ended up buying that territory out there, man. But when it boiled down to it, you know, the Carolina Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling and Georgia Championship Wrestling, it was pretty much 1-1. It was all together when it boiled down to it. So, man, but yeah, very special days. Wrestling was very special at that time. Can't forget it. But wow, man, I wish I could be on camera a little bit better, but with the internet, it's just dropped down. The timing on the internet has really dropped down, has really taken me out. So basically, I'm here doing a lot of. So guys, I'm gonna get off and I'm gonna call Christopher Burton, and I'm gonna set up for AEW Dynamite tonight. So hey, hopefully I'll be seeing you on AEW Dynamite tonight. But let me go ahead and read what Alma Clark. Let me go ahead and catch what Alma Clark saying. Alma says, "Know what you mean? Spectrum Internet is the only thing I got now. I'm a professional wrestling fan and historian of the TV area. the TV era. All right, Alma, that's what I'm talking about. Alma says y'all need to interview with Mark Lawrence and David Manning. They both broke ground for wrestling TV and how to fill seats for pay-per-view. Oh yeah, I know about David Manning. Most definitely a little bit about Lawrence, but I definitely know about David Manning and know a good bit about him. But guys, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. And tonight, man, hey, join us again, Christopher and myself. We will be here for AEW Dynamite, guys. But hey, right now, hey, all I can really say is I'm thinking about the territories. I miss the territories. And hey, when the territories was around, I could always just turn on my TV to any one of those shows. Hey, whether it be Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, whether it be Georgia Championship Wrestling, whether it be Championship Wrestling from Florida, or whether it be Southwest Championship Wrestling out of Texas, or World Class Championship Wrestling out of Texas, I knew I was going to get a good show, guys. It all it is to it. Even the World Wrestling Federation back then, when it was a territory, when it basically controlled the Northeast up there, I knew I was going to get good shows from that too. Continental Wrestling Association, a lot of different territories, guys, and got some great wrestling. Pacific Northwest, I knew I was going to get out of Oregon. I knew I was going to get great wrestling from that too, whenever we could get it. But now, I just don't know. And it shouldn't be that way. I just don't know what I'm going to get. When I turn on the WWE or the AEW, I have no clue what I'm going to get. It's crazy. But guys, I will talk to you guys later. Hey, stay straight up. See you in just a little bit, guys, in a little over an hour. We will see you guys again tonight for AEW Dynamite. Stay straight up. Peace.